most exciting thing about this talk is that I'll be doing it on the device that I'm talking about. So let's see if this works. You might know this situation. You're sitting in a Hackspace and everyone else is looking at their laptops and typing very important stuff, and you forget to bring your own. Or possibly you don't have an own laptop, and then you would have to talk to other people. Imagine the horror. And that's why we have 3 of these laptops that were gifted to us. And we can also use them for like programming workshops or something like that. But what we do have is we have 3 laptops that are here and that are usable for everybody. And the problem is, when I turn it on, you'll probably get to see it. Do we get output? Yeah. Okay. So the problem is, it's Windows. They're each running Windows 11, and it's a pretty normal installation. You have one user without a password. It's an admin account, and you can basically just use it. We've configured a few things like a nice homepage in Firefox or stuff like that, but this is a bit of a pain to use, and I'm currently trying to get to see the screen also. Right? So what I have to do pretty much every week is turn it on, go into settings, look for updates. Oh, there's an update. Then I have to open the Microsoft Store. And then I have to check for updates when there's currently no issue with. And then I have to open Winget and check for updates. This takes about 1.5 hours per laptop. Imagine we have 3. We don't have enough of these power cables to power them all simultaneously. And Windows Update gets very slow if you don't have power. It's already slow as is, and this is not good. Also, these laptops are quite old, and the TPM is so old that Windows 11 doesn't officially run on this laptop. That's why it's currently stuck on 23H2, which, as you can see, still gets updates, but okay, but yeah, well, we don't have to wait for this device. We can just use that one and hope it'll work. No. The problem here being that Windows 11 23H2 runs out of support in about 1 week. Normally, you would get an update to the current release somewhere in the year that it has been released, but this doesn't apply if you don't have a TPM2 or your CPU is too old. What you can do is do a manual update. And what this implies, this will happen quite often, is open your favorite registry editor, go to HK local machine, system setup, MO setup, and add a key named allow upgrades with unsupported TPM or CPU. then you can go to the Microsoft website, download the ISO image, double-click on the installer, acknowledge the warning that your TPM is too old, and wait 3 hours. Then you have the next Windows 11 release. And imagine doing this once a year. Also, please don't look into the downloads folder, because people don't clean up after themselves, and it gets messy pretty quick. The other thing here is that we probably don't want to promote proprietary software, so just providing people with Windows is ideologically probably not a good idea. So, can we do this better? Probably. There is an operating system called Linux. You might have heard of it. And I tried installing it on one of these devices. You might recognize this screen if you've used Ubuntu in the last 10 years, because this is lightdm. I have yet to enable the bongos on startup. But the nice thing about lightdm is that it has a guest mode. So if you click on guest and on login, then you'll get a desktop pretty quickly, and just have to mirror the screens. And well, you can click through this thingy or just close it. Interestingly, you can also add additional steps to this assistant, so perhaps. But this is a pretty much configured system. How this works is that, well, in etc there is a configuration for this user account, and it gets copied to each new user account, and each guest login is a new user account. This is a standard feature of lightdm, but making this work on NixOS is a bit of a challenge, because this is a long shell script. Sorry. If you want to take a look. This does quite a few things in quite a few contexts. So parts of this script run as root, part of the scripts run as the new created account, part of the script runs before creating the account, part of it runs cleaning up after. But there are various places to hook, like this source file or something like that. And the downside is you have to hook at those places, because otherwise you'll get an account with no password. Turns out unlocking the screen lock on an account with no password does not work. So you might want to set a default password, such as guest on login. The other things you have seen is lightdm. I already mentioned this. This is not specific to any Linux distro. You can get the same setup like on Ubuntu. If you install Ubuntu Mate, it's probably the default. The desktop you've seen is Plasma. Plasma is a desktop. And on the login screen, you've seen that this system runs NixOS. Even though it is not a military drone, it can also run NixOS. How this works is, well, there is some config on GitHub. Depending on how NixOS does NixOS, I'll probably upstream the guest account thingy, because it Also requires quite a bit to the PAM config. NixOS does weird things there. But also you want to have, in addition to this guest account, some sort of basic system maintenance so that it updates automatically in the background. This is possible, and thanks to how NixOS manages configurations, the new system will be booted on the next boot, and there's no problem if you just shut it off while updating. You will get the old config. You can also switch to the old config on boot if something goes wrong. This is pretty nice. Let's see, what can I do to demonstrate that this really is a temporary account. Well, I create a text file, and if I log off, logging off takes quite a while because it has to delete the home directory, and you don't get a progress, and you don't get the login screen until it has been deleted. That's not good. So, and if I log in again, I get a new account without my config, without my files, but with a different copy of the original system config. But that's not all there is. You can have more than one guest account at the same time. You can switch between accounts just like you would normally switch between accounts. They are on different virtual terminals. And you can also have real accounts. If you took a look at the login screen, I'll just show it again. Then you might have wondered why is there a username field? That's because in this setup you can actually have real user accounts. You can just type your nick in, and then it'll tell you that you forgot to plug in your USB drive. Let me just get my USB drive. No, let's try that again. Also, oh, did I forget to? Yeah. No warning. And when I would remember my password, or if I'm able to get it from my password manager, 1 second. Password incorrect. Okay. You might wonder why that took so long, and that's because it actually opens a Lux device here. How this works is that systemd is magic. No, that systemd homed provides the possibility to have accounts on external storage media. How this works is that on this USB drive there is one partition with the label of my user account and with a Lux container which has the password of my user account. So when I log in, the system can check the password even though it does not know which is the correct one. My USB drive will tell. And then I have a home directory that's mounted somewhere from Lux, and stuff that I do in this account will persist. You've seen this. I didn't get the info wizard. I have a terminal open last time. I have a different shell than the default, and all of this persists. And the nice thing is that with Flatpak, You're even able to install your own applications. If there's something we're missing, you can just use Discover or a Flatpak on the command line. They will just get downloaded to your home directory. This even works across devices. So currently I just installed this one, but I said we have 3 of them, and I plan on converting all of them to the setup. And then you can just plug your drive in somewhere. You don't have to remember which device you created this with. So Spotify is not installed on the system. This is my local install. The problem here is that there's currently no UI for this. If I open the normal user control, then there's no account, no guest account, not the account I'm currently logged in with. You can change the password of the guest account with passwd, or you can modify your account or create your account with homectl. That's how I did it initially. The trick here being that the poll-kit allows for pretty specific rules, so that you can create those accounts without having the root password on the host, which you would normally do. And also, I'm able to use this ISO image writer thingy without any root password, because I configured udisks that way, that you can write to removable drives without needing the. But I've yet to get some UI for that, and I didn't find anything. So, UI design is my passion, and it's it's not that good. I'm working on that, but that's the state of the thing, and happy to hear feedback or questions.
So, are there any questions about this talk? Are there any comments online?
Die ganzen Jumpscares sind im Woche erst mit 11 und die lauten Sounds.
So there was a comment about the jump scares of loud sounds in Windows 11 appearing on the screens of the viewers, which I can understand.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And personally, this reminds me a bit about the logical evolution of live CDs back when it started with Knoppix, where you could bring your own Linux distro and boot it from CD. This seems like the next logical step to do, just carry your own USB stick, and being able to log on 3 devices now, if it was enrolled on all devices, I think it makes things pretty easy. And well, thanks Itwit for your talk.